Alright, geometry students, we are back again with Law of Cosines, and this time we're going to find a desired angle. Now, in this problem, we want to find angle E. And I know right off the bat, any of you that are looking at your notes, looking at or looked at the previous video, you're sitting here saying to yourself, Mr. O, there is no law of sines, or law of cosines formula that has D, E, and F in it. You are completely right. Can't argue with that one bit. So let's just use one as an example. So let's use the formula that we recently used in the previous video, and that was a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2 times b times c cosine of a. Now, we want to find angle E, and the only variable in the entire law of cosines formula that is an angle is always the capitalized letter. So in our case right there, big A is our angle. So since we know big A is the angle and I want to find big E, I'm going to replace all of the A's with E's. Simple enough. Now, the next step, make the substitution, but don't fret about it too much. Pick one letter, substitute it for B, pick the other letter, substitute it for C. So in our case, I'm going to substitute D for B and F for C just because it's alphabetical. So I'm just making a straight up swap. The one thing that matters most though is you want to substitute the E for the A since we have the angles, and that's the most specific and important part of this particular problem. So now once we've got this formula, all we've got to do is substitute. E is 23, D is 22, F is 24, make the substitutions. And there they are. So those of you that watched my last video, this is where we run into a little bit of a problem. This is where students get frustrated, and this is where they don't like the law of cosines. Because what happens is the law of cosines for a missing angle or a desired angle gets very, very algebra heavy right here. So what we're going to do is we are going to figure out what those three sets of numbers that I just underlined in blue are. And we're not asking to do anything difficult. This is just simple little algebra. So 23 squared is 529. 22 squared plus 24 squared, 1060. And then 2 times 22 times 24, we get us 1056. So when we substitute in all of those values just from doing some simple arithmetic, 529 equals 1060 minus 1056 times cosine of E. And here's where the algebra kicks in. We need to isolate cosine of E. What's on the same side as it? 1060 minus the 1056 times cosine of E. So these two numbers have to be eliminated or factored out so that we can have cosine of E isolated. So the first step we're going to do, forgot about my color coding. The first step we're going to do is we're going to subtract the 1060. We've got to get rid of the 1060 so that we can then deal with the term with the variable in it. So once we've been able to do that, so 529 minus 1060, we find out is negative 531. .1060s cancel, and finally we just carry down all the rest of it because we didn't do anything to it. Now, how is the negative 1056 attached to the cosine of E? They're being multiplied. Inverse operation there. We're going to have to divide. So we're dividing by 1056. On the right hand side, we're going to be left with cosine of E. On the left hand side, don't worry about finding out what that equals. Don't waste your time. Don't overwork yourself here. Just simply realize simple things. You can just leave it alone if you wanted to, or you could just realize that the negative divided by a negative is a positive, and we do something like that. So again, don't overwork yourself. Don't hurt yourself too much on this one. Just try to minimize what little you have to do. And now we're at the last step. So how do we simplify cosine of E? How do we get rid of that cosine? Well, we got to do that inverse operation again. So cosine to the negative 1 power, which is inverse cosine. And what we do to one side, we also do to the other. So inverse cosine and cosine simplify into just E. So that left-hand side, second cosine, 531 divided by 1056. Enter. And we find out that angle E equals 59.81 degrees. So good luck with this, guys. Rewatch the video several times so you can catch the flow of what went on. And again, just can't reiterate. Good luck.